All right, let's talk about something I think we've all felt, the psychology of feeling stuck. You know, that feeling that you're just spinning your wheels. We're going to dig into why that happens and what might be going on under the surface.
You know that feeling, right? It's like you're in this internal tug of war. You know what you want to do or what you think you should do, but you just feel paralyzed. It's almost like your own brain is trapping you. But what if there's a way to actually map out that trap?
So where do we start? Well, one of the most powerful tools out there for this is something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. You can kind of think of it as a user's manual for your own mind. At the heart of CBT is this simple loop. See, our reactions aren't just random chaos. There's a pattern. First, some situation happens. Let's say you get some tough feedback at work. That situation then triggers a thought, something like, oh man, I'm a total failure. That thought, in turn, creates an emotion, maybe shame, maybe anxiety. And that emotion, it drives a behavior, like procrastinating on that project or avoiding your boss. This is the exact cycle that gets us stuck.
So, to put an official label on it, CBT is a type of therapy that really zooms in on that connection, the link between what we think, how we feel, and what we end up doing. The whole point isn't to change the initial situation, you can't always do that, but to intercept and change our unhelpful reactions to it.
And here's what's so powerful about this approach. The core idea is that a lot of our distress doesn't just come out of nowhere. It comes from these unhelpful, kind of faulty ways of thinking and behaving that we've learned over time. And here's the good news. If they're learned, well, that means they can be unlearned. We can actually teach ourselves better ways to cope.
Okay, so that's the individual level. That's the stuff happening inside our own heads. But let's pull back for a second. Are these thoughts really, truly ours? Or are we maybe picking up on some kind of deep cultural programming that's been running for centuries?
And that question brings us to a kind of historical software that might still be running in the background of our minds today. I'm talking about the Protestant work ethic.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. Hundreds of years ago, a religious idea called predestination created this deep, gnawing anxiety. People believed it was already decided if they were going to heaven or not, and they were desperate for any sign at all, that they were one of the chosen ones. The main way they tried to prove it? Through constant, relentless hard work.
Now, this wasn't just a small shift. This anxiety literally rewired how people saw the world. Your job wasn't just a job anymore. It became a holy calling. Staying busy all the time was a defense against doubt and temptation. Making money wasn't just about wealth. It could be a sign you were saved. And relaxing, leisure, that was seen as wasteful, even sinful. This mindset basically recoded work into a moral imperative.
So, if a 400-year-old idea can still be echoing in how we feel about our jobs today, what's the bigger system we're all swimming in right now? What's the operating system for our entire society?
And that brings us to our final and maybe biggest piece of the puzzle, an idea from the philosopher Mark Fisher called capitalist realism. Fisher's big point was that capitalist realism isn't some loud, in-your-face propaganda. It's much more subtle. It's like the air we breathe. It's this widespread background feeling that capitalism isn't just one option among many, it's the only option. It's the end of the line. And that makes it almost impossible to even imagine a different way of doing things.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. We have tons of Hollywood movies about asteroids hitting the Earth or zombie apocalypses or climate collapse, but a movie about a successful, functioning society that isn't capitalist, that feels like pure fantasy. The end of the entire world feels more realistic to us than the end of our economic system.
And it's really important to get this distinction here. Neoliberalism was all about cheering for capitalism. It was the promise that this system was the best way to build a better future. But capitalist realism is different. It's not cheering. It's more of a quiet sigh, a resignation. It doesn't say capitalism is amazing. It just says it's the only game in town, so we might as well get on with it.
So what does living in that atmosphere do to us psychologically? Well, Fisher had a term for it, reflexive impotence. It's that feeling of knowing things are broken. You see climate change, you see inequality, you feel burnt out, but you also feel completely powerless to do anything about it. And that feeling brings us right back to that personal sense of being stuck. Okay, so let's pull all three of these threads together now. We've got the individual mind, the historical software, and the modern operating system. How do they create this feeling of being stuck?
So on the micro level, we've got tools like CBT. We're told to focus on ourselves, to reframe our negative thoughts, to optimize our mindset, to basically debug the code inside our own heads.
But while we're trying to do that, we've got this ghost in the machine, right? This deep,
old cultural script is still running, whispering to us that our worth is tied to our productivity, that rest is lazy, and that work is a moral duty. And that historical software is a huge driver of our very modern epidemic of burnout.
And then you take all of that, our personal struggles and our historical baggage, and you place it inside this giant operating system of capitalist realism. An atmosphere that's constantly telling us, this is it. There's no alternative. There's no way out. It just reinforces that feeling of being powerless.
And that leaves us with a pretty massive question, doesn't it? We're told constantly to work on ourselves, to fix our own thinking. But if our minds are profoundly shaped by these huge historical and economic systems, can we really just think our way out of being stuck? Is individual change even enough? That, I think, is the real challenge.